up, Sauce Gang, and welcome back to the channel. Hot Sauce Beats here with a banger FNAF reaction for you because FuhNaff has just dropped the clue that solves the FNAF movie, FNAF Theory. Now, hopefully you guys have seen the FNAF movie by now. I'm guessing there's gonna be a lot of spoilers in here, but I'm super stoked to see what FuhNaff can find in the movie, what kind of clues, what kind of concrete facts that we're gonna find, and Easter eggs. We love ourselves some Easter eggs in the FNAF community. But before we jump in this, can you show FuhNaff some love by subscribing to their channel? And fam, be a part of history in the making. We are so close to 100,000 subs, so if you haven't yet, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and join the Sauce Gang family. But enough talking, let's get to reacting and roll that bomb ass intro.
Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Eat, sleep, make beats. Eat, sleep, make beats.
Hot Sauce Beats. Woo, woo. Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready. What you got, John?
In this video, I'm going to be sharing my first ever theory about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Let's get started. I think Scott did a good job at making the story of the FNAF movie feel familiar, but also not at the same time. And he did this by combining characters, storylines, and themes from the books and the games. For example, we have William Afton, but his daughter is not Elizabeth, it's Vanessa from Security Breach. And we've got Mike, but he's not the same Mike that we see in the games. Instead of him being an Afton, he's Mike Schmidt from the Paycheck in FNAF 1. We've also got the Ella doll from the Silver Eyes trilogy and Fazbear Frights, but now it's a big springlocks suit. There's a little bit of everything, but it's all recontextualized.
I think we all think,
so let's try to make.
I think we all think that the Ella doll is the movie's version of Baby.
Some sense of it. Let's get the basics of the story out of the way. The story of the movie seems to be the most similar to the Silver Eyes trilogy. In the Silver Eyes trilogy, William is able to control the spirits of the kids after he murders them. He's able to do this because after the kids get killed, they don't remember anything about what happened to them. They see the Golden Bunny, William Afton, as a friend. And this is also what we see in the movie. William is able to control the spirits of the dead kids inside the animatronics. And Abby is able to remind the kids about what William did to them through the drawing. This is also exactly what happens in the Silver Eyes. After the kids remember what William did to them, they then turn on him. But although the Silver Eyes and the movie share similar story elements, there are some notable differences. Like, for example, one of the biggest characters in the whole franchise is missing in the movie, and that's Henry Emily. In every adaptation of the FNAF story, whether that be the books or the games, William's business partner Henry is always present. And because of this, I've seen a lot of people try and figure out where Henry is in the movie. If you've read the Silver Eyes trilogy,
Now, we saw a clip of someone working on essentially either the Mimic or one of the animatronic dolls, so could be. A lot of people, Matt Pat thinks that possibly Mike Schmidt's dad is Henry Emily, just with a different name.
You know that Henry's storyline in those books is way different than it is in the games. In the games, Henry lives a pretty long life and ends up burning everything to the ground in FNAF 6. But in the books, that's not the case. In the Silver Eyes trilogy, William Afton kidnaps Henry's daughter Charlie. And shortly after that happens, Henry's wife leaves him and then he ends his own life. And there's one character in the movie that fits almost perfectly with that description: Mike's dad. In the movie, Mike's brother Garrett gets kidnapped by William Afton, just like how William Afton kidnapped Henry's daughter Charlie in the books. Mike reveals later in the movie that shortly after Garrett was kidnapped, his mom died. And then Mike implies that after that, his dad ended his own life, or at least completely left the family. This is very similar to what Henry goes through in the Silver Eyes trilogy. And after watching the movie for the first time, I was convinced that Mike's dad was probably Henry. I mean, Henry was the one that created the main 4 animatronics, and you can see someone who looks very similar to Mike's dad working on the robots.
And even the outfit is beyond similar. The whole lumberjack, outdoorman look, you know, aesthetic matches
in the movie. But this was actually revealed to not be the same actor as Mike's dad. This is actually someone who worked at Jim Henson's Creature Shop, who made the animatronics for the movie. But that doesn't mean that Scott wasn't aware of the visual similarities between these two guys. Mike's dad being Henry would also make Garrett's kidnapping make a lot more sense. We know that Garrett was kidnapped while the Schmidts were on a camping trip in Nebraska. And the chances that William Afton was also on a camping trip in Nebraska and just so happened to bump into Garrett is very low. William needs a reason to be in Nebraska. Alaska to kidnap Garrett specifically. If Garrett was Henry's kid, that would give William a lot more motive to kidnap him and make it less random. Mike's dad being Henry works so well, but there are some big issues. Mike and Abby had no idea what Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was before Mike got the job there. If their dad's job and life's work was making the animatronics for that restaurant, they would probably would have known its existence.
That's true.
The only way I could see this working is if Mike's dad kept his work a secret from his kids. And if that is the case, I could see the next two movies being Mike and Abby slowly discovering their dad's secret life. So is Mike's dad Henry? If what I said ends up being true and Mike's dad kept his work a secret from his kids, then probably. But that's really the only way it can work. But an even bigger mystery for me is what the heck is up with Vanessa? In the movie,
what's
Vanessa
up with that
ends up
girl,
being
bro?
William Afton's daughter. And
She
upon
cuckoo for
first
Cocoa
viewing,
Puffs.
you might think this is way different from the games. But if you pay attention to Vanessa in the games, they're kind of the same character. We learned in Fnaf AR that Vanessa's last name starts with an A. Vanessa A. Vanessa Afton. Also, in Vanessa's therapy tapes and Security Breach, we learn that she has a dad named Bill, which is short for William. And if Vanessa's last name starts with an A, that would mean her dad's name is William A. We also learned that Vanessa's dad in the games is very abusive and manipulative. Vanessa's dad, Bill, in the games was able to make Vanessa make her mom look bad in court. He did this so he could keep custody of her.
I'm talking about the custody battle between your mum and your dad. He
Your
used
mum.
to make your mum look bad in court. I suppose I don't need you to tell me it felt bad to have a parent scare you into saying things that weren't true. He manipulated you. It wasn't your fault.
And now in the movie, we have William Afton, who seems to have some sort of manipulative control over Vanessa. Never mind the visual similarities between Vanessa in the movie and Vanessa in the games. Now, do I think that the movie and the games take
they look
place
very
in the same
similar.
continuity? No. I just think that these connections are worth calling out since we have no idea why Vanessa seems to be William Afton's daughter in the games.
And again, we have to remember the movie is not a one-for-one remake of either the game or the book. It's its own thing, just like the game and the books are their own thing, different, but they have similarities, parallel. Just imagine multiple universes. It's its own universe, but the same, but different. But it's the same, but it's different. Remember that.
Let's talk about Aunt Jane. Aunt Jane is probably the most random
she a B
character
word.
in the movie. She kind of
Aunt
comes
Jane,
into
not
the
nice.
story, tries to take custody of Abby, and then dies. And that's it. She actually shares a similar name to Aunt Jen, Charlie's aunt from the Silver Eyes trilogy. But as far as similarities between Aunt Jane and Aunt Jen, there really isn't any. If I really had to throw something out there, I would say that Aunt Jane could be related to William Afton or even be Mrs. Afton herself. We do learn in the games that Vanessa's parents are divorced, and that could be the case for Aunt Jane and William Afton. Also, Aunt Jane and Vanessa do both have blonde hair with brunette roots and kind of look similar, so I could see her being Vanessa's mom or at least related to Vanessa. This would then make William Afton Mike's uncle, which could explain why Garrett doesn't look scared whatsoever when he's being kidnapped. It could be because William wasn't a stranger to Garrett. And if William is Mike's uncle and Mike's dad is Henry, that would make Freddy's a family business, which could be an interesting storyline, but we once again have some problems. If William Afton is Mike's uncle, why doesn't Mike know who William is? Overall, I'm not ruling out anything. I just refuse to believe that Aunt Jane was a one-off character to give the people who broke into Freddy's some motive. Later on in the movie, when Abby's about to be put in a springlock suit, that springlock suit is a giant version of the Ella doll from the Silver Eyes trilogy and the Fazbear Frights books. And like a lot of things in this video, it's hard not to say something that's already been said. This could easily be the movie's version of Baby, but it also could just be an Easter egg for the book fans. And I'm leaning more towards the latter. Realistically, the Ella animatronic, Sparky, and Shadow Freddy all fall under the same category. There really isn't a pizzeria that would make sense for them to belong to. They could be from Circus Baby's Pizza World, but none of them really screams circus to me. I could see the Ella animatronic being three things. Either just an Easter egg, the movie's version of Baby, or the movie's version of the Ella doll from the Silver Eyes trilogy. In the Silver Eyes, Henry was able to recreate his daughter in robot form through using the Ella doll. So this animatronic could be some experiment by William to try and do something similar. I don't know. And finally, let's talk about the Puppets music box being played in the credits.
Yeah, baby, the Puppets music, we heard it.
the director of the movie
heard
said
it.
that the second movie is following the second game, I'm assuming we'll see the puppet in the sequel. And if Garrett really is filling the role of Charlie as William's first
Garrett
victim,
is the
then
puppet.
Garrett is probably the puppet. But if Garrett more so fills the role of the crying child, then that would mean he's the second spirit inside Golden Freddy. And if you look at the drawing of the kids holding hands with Spring Bonnie in the movie, you can see that Cassidy's face wasn't originally drawn in the picture. You can see that Cassidy's head was glued on top of another kid's head, which could easily be Garrett. And if Garrett isn't the puppet, then the puppet must be someone we weren't introduced to yet. Theorizing about this movie really does feel like the early days of FNAF. Saying that Garrett is the puppet feels just like saying Purple Guy is Phone Guy. Back then, we had barely anything to go off of, so it just kind of felt right.
I think
And
it's.
the
I think
same
we
thing
got
is
some
happening
pretty
now.
good,
With
pretty
only
good
one
start
movie
though.
under our belts featuring basically a brand new version of FNAF's story, it feels like we're trying to solve a 100-piece puzzle with only 10 pieces. So I apologize if this video felt a little bit scattered, but honestly, that's how my brain
You did a
felt
great
in
job,
general.
bro.
I'm just super excited to know more about the story that Scott and Blumhouse are trying to tell, and I really hope we get more movies. Subscribe
Yeah,
if you
baby.
enjoyed, and thanks for watching.
Let's go.
In
Hey,
this
dude.
video-
FuhNaff, you did an amazing job, dude. Same thing with Matt Pat. I think they both their theories are very similar. And I think that's because we're working all on basically the same knowledge. And it's not that much because it's just one movie. And I don't think there's really a lot that you can misconstrue or go off on different theories if you're just going off what we're presenting. Now, obviously, you can make a theory that, you know, William Afton loves peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and that's why he kills people. It's super random, doesn't make any sense. So we're all going off roughly the same stuff. Whereas like for, you know, FNAF game lore where we're going off of the game, the books, everything. So it can be a lot and you can make a million different theories. I think FuhNaff and Matt Pat both for the most part hit the nail on the head. I really like the theory that, and again, chat, these are just theories, but I really like the fact of Mike Schmidt's dad being Henry Emily. Obviously with a different name, but I think it gives motive. I think it makes William Afton have reasons of why he killed, kidnapped, and then killed Garrett, and then went after Abby, went after Mike. I just think it makes sense, and I think it would set up the sequel so well. Amazing. And even the third one. I love it. And then when Springtrap comes back in the third one, he's gonna go on a murderous rampage. I love it. But let me know what you guys thought of this theory. Make sure you show FuhNaff some love by subscribing to this channel. And chat, if you enjoy my reaction, please smash that subscribe and like button. It's absolutely free and it greatly helps out the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, it's eat, sleep, and make beats. And as usual, be kind of one another. That's all I got. Boom. I'm out. Gonna be done for the sauce cake. Peace out, champ.